The Labor Day holiday weekend off to a rough start for tens of thousands attending an event focused on self-expression. Thick mud caused by torrential rain in the Black Rock Desert has made walking difficult.
The county road 34 is approximately a little over a mile. So people are walking out. There are people again stuck.
But one attendee who was stranded says the harsh weather has taken the meaning of the event back to its roots.
When it was really wet, you couldn't do anything. You just lived here. There's really no way to walk miles, to get out of it. It's a survival event. Like, you come out here to be in a harsh climate and you prepare for that. We don't know what's going to happen tonight, though.
The remote event site was hit with 2 to 3 months worth of rain in just 24 hours from Friday to Saturday morning. The National Weather Service says more is anticipated Sunday afternoon.
Looking at the forecast for today, it's pushed out a little bit. So hopefully that'll give these people an opportunity to get off the playa. It doesn't look like it is going to rain as hard as initially forecasted.
Authorities say resources have been brought in from around northern Nevada to help with medical needs on the grounds, while working to deploy buses to get people out, which festival organizers say will likely not be a 24-hour operation. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Well, here's what it looks like on your feet. It's horrible. Everything is wet. Everything is muddy. But all of our spirits are really high. Like the previous person said, we're all kind of coming together as a community, making sure, we all get packed up and break down camp safely. Everybody's eating. Everybody's got water. Everything is pretty good. Well, I mean, it started 5 o'clock around on Friday evening, and most of us, we didn't think it was going to be this. Like, we knew it was going to rain, but it ended up raining all night. And most of us just went to bed because the programming kind of stopped. All the music stopped. We were worried about electricity and shorts with like standing water on the ground. So everybody, at least in my camp, we all went to sleep. We caught up on the whole week of not sleeping. And when we woke up to this huge mess. Like, oh my God, what just happened? Water was coming into the tents, and it was a little shocking. I don't think any of us really expected like the impact, but again, we're prepared for it. We're just fine. I think it was more like, do we have enough food if we're stuck here for like 36 hours? The porta potties, for instance, they're pretty full right now, and everybody's kind of, I mean, you have to go. So we're kind of trying to space it out and go to the more empty ones. We practice leave no trace principles. So we're keeping everything clean and pulling all trash out, like making sure no trash gets stuck in the mud, toilet paper flying, all that kind of stuff. So it's more of like a logistical thing. When are we going to leave? How do you change your flight if you need to fly out from a neighboring airport? And do we have enough food and water and supplies to make it if we're stuck for a little while? I mean, I can't believe they tried that because it's literally like a couple miles to the gate. I mean, that is a feat because just walking to the bathroom in here, I mean, it's a workout. Like you're heavy breathing and sweating by the time you get to the bathroom. So we were told this morning to shelter in place and to not try to drive out unless you had all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, because once some cars get stuck, it's going to back all these 70,000 people from getting out the next day or the day after. We don't want a bunch of cars stuck. So everybody's pretty cool about staying where we are. I'm here to the end, and I'll be back next year, rain or shine.
Yeah, we're out here in beautiful Black Rock Desert in Nevada, and we're in a lake bed here. It's dry in the summer, so it's dusty and flat. But last night it rained, and it rained quite a bit for the desert, and created a very mucky, muddy, terrible environment where you could barely walk. Vehicles made it impassable, and the whole festival and the 70-ish thousand people out here just had to stay put. Oh yeah, it's a very interesting feeling because in many ways, like you really can't. I mean, when it was really wet, you couldn't do anything. You just lived here. There's really no way to walk miles, to get out of it. So that's a bit concerning. But it's a survival event. Like you come out here to be in a harsh climate, and you prepare for that. So in many ways, everybody here just kind of made friends with their neighbors, and it's a community event. It's an event about art, and you just kind of went back to the roots. I think almost everybody really enjoyed having it be extremely harsh and. We don't know what's going to happen tonight, though, and that's the big concern because we might have just as much rain tonight. And if you couple that with last night's, then we have a pretty big story and a pretty hard time getting out of the city collectively because those 70,000 people have to go out on the same road. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. The Burning Man organization has plans and backup plans if those plans don't work. And they're generally really good about communicating that to the general public through radio stations that they set up out here and a staff that's all connected via radios and a ranger network. So there's actually quite a lot of technology out here, even though there's not much. So if it rains again tonight, it's going to be a few days before people get out. If it doesn't rain tonight, we're going to have our usual burning of the man probably tomorrow night. It was supposed to be right now. The man was supposed to burn actually in an hour. And right now there's no burns tonight because there's no vehicle traffic going, and there's, we're still pretty much sheltering in place. Although if you can hear behind me, a lot of music has started to pop back up and a lot of cities kind of return back to life. Yeah, it's an odd event. I think it started by a bunch of pranksters and it kind of grew out of San Francisco and came to be this thing that it's kind of like asking somebody what is the Grateful Dead, where it's like you have to kind of see it to really understand what the community is about. But we come as a collective to this really barren wasteland, one of the harshest places in the world, and we create community and art together. So we have things like The Man That Burns on Saturday night, generally tonight. And that is a collection of 70,000 people and a lot of music and all these art cars and things that people have created and just sound. And then Sunday night is generally the where we burn the temple, or this space that's created to kind of process and grieve and talk about the things that we lost this last year. So usually we have this big night Saturday night, and then Sunday night we have this very solemn night. So we don't know if we were going to do both burns tomorrow night, if we're going to burn anything. Sometimes, with the wet, we might not burn anything, and you just kind of have to, say, screw it, new plan when the weather kind of makes it a survival event more than a come and watch, participate in great music event. Oh, no panic. There's definitely medical on site. There's ways to get you out of here. The only vehicles allowed on the roads right now are ambulances. There's a lot of people with very, vehicles meant for this. So no panic. I think the concern is if we have another rain, people really need to get out. People need to go back to their jobs or, back to the responsibilities they have back home. And if they're delayed another 4 days, 2 days, 4 days, whatever it ends up being, that's pretty concerning. But right now, everybody's kind of planning on being here through Monday, at least, and we'll see how it goes from there.
It was kind of a crazy thing, but I hitched a ride with an ATV that was heading out that needed to get somebody more important than me out to the front area. They were willing to let me sit in the back, and so got a ride out to the main road. And then when I got out there, I immediately found a guy who was towing a vehicle that had gotten in some type of an accident, and asked him if I could hop into the crashed vehicle on his trailer and catch a ride to wherever he was going. And he got me to Fernley, Nevada, and then from Fernley, I grabbed an Uber to Reno, and I headed to the airport. To be honest, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was a few hours. It was probably like maybe a total of 4 hours or so. So all in all, pretty painless compared to what I think a lot of other people have had to go through. Mostly just I was feeling sad for a lot of the artists and the folks that had put so much work, the staff, the people that have put so much work into putting this really fantastic special event on. Just that a lot of them, weren't going to be able to follow through on their plans, or things were going to get moved around. And then I was, of course, feeling for folks that were in a tough spot. There were people that missed flights. There are folks out there that may only have, like, so much medication to get through the time they're there, or they're older and have maybe some type of disability that they can't get around as easily. So, but for the rest of the folks that were there, I mean, you're signing up to go out to the desert for a week, and you need to know some crazy things are going to happen. So, it was a kind of a crazy adventure. But yeah, I was mostly bummed out for the folks that I knew had just put a lot of work into stuff that they might not be able to follow through on. Think it kind of depends on who you ask. I'll say most of the seasoned folks that have been out there, a number of times, had really positive attitudes. I mean, we all know we're signing up for something that anything could happen. I've been out there during a hailstorm. I've been out there during rain. I've been out there when it was like too hot to function, and so it was. I really, I felt like overall it was pretty manageable. But there were certainly some people that were, absolutely beside themselves, and that were asking if their tickets would be reimbursed, or if they'd get tickets for next year. They were missing their flights, which I know is obviously super inconvenient and frustrating for people. But it kind of just depended, I think, on their level of experience out there and their level of comfort out there, and then potentially wherever they had to be, come Monday or Tuesday morning. And so it really varied. But most of the folks I know out there that go out somewhat regularly, they certainly made the best of it. Everybody was being really wonderful. It's a great community. People were helping each other, offering food and water and shelter to those who needed it. And if anything, I think it probably made the core community a lot stronger. So yeah, just kind of depends on who you ask. We are all at the mercy of Mother Nature with this one, and the playa, as we call it out there. And so they could tell us things that they were really good about not wanting to set any false expectations. I was super impressed with the organization, all the staff I interacted with, everybody. They had plans. They have plans for this. It's just, it's a big sticky situation, literally. So they're trying to be very honest with people about the reality of it. If we get direct sun on that playa for a few hours, people might be able to get out of there within a day. It's just very unlikely that that's going to happen. And if we continue to get rain, people might be there longer this week, midweek, end of week. I'm sure there will be a number of folks there that will be there much longer. Maybe some of the artists, certainly a lot of the staff that maybe didn't intend to be there as long. And so, again, they're being real about what they think is going to happen, but we can't control the weather out there. So we just kind of got to wait and see. Absolutely. Absolutely. And everyone I talk to that's been out there a lot, most of the people I've talked to feel the same way. I don't know if I'll be back next year. Burning Man will still be there, I think, probably, if I don't make it back. But overall, I fully intend to be back out there. It was honestly one of my favorite years I've ever had out there. It just ended in kind of a crazy way.